Good morning, everyone. I'm Joseph Maida. I'm the chair of the BFA Photography and Video Department, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to the second portion of today's open house. I'd also like to extend a welcome to anyone who is live streaming the event. And I'd like to give you a little bit of an overview of what to expect for the remainder of our day together. But before I do that, how's everyone doing? Good? Great. Okay. So today's open house is really that. It's a chance for us to open up our spaces, for you to get to know who we are. But we believe very much in reciprocity in our department. So we also want to get to know who you are. So there's going to be an opportunity throughout the next few hours together for us to both tell you a bit about who we are, what we do, what we think makes our department at the college stand out. And there's also going to be ample opportunity for each of you to ask us questions, tell us a bit more about your interests, and for us to really start what we find to be so vital in our department is to build community. Because something that we know, and I'm sure all of you already know this as well, is that being a creative person is being a leader. It's really exciting, but we all need support. So I'd also like to extend a special welcome to everyone who is here supporting a prospective student, because without those folks, oftentimes we don't have necessarily the courage to pursue the thing that we know we're destined to do. Something else that I would like to stress is that our department really prides itself on being a professionally driven department. And what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is we strive from day one to set up every student to be able to take what they've learned from our curriculum and apply it to have a successful, meaningful professional life after graduation. Because we want folks to be able to actually do the things that they learn at the professional level. As a way to introduce the department, I'd like to show you a short video and then tell you a little bit more about some of the nuance of what's covered. So with that, let me share with you a quick introduction to an overview of who we are. So I'd like to break down a little bit about our department to give you a better understanding of some points that I think make us really stand out. The first thing I'd like to talk about is our curriculum. And the curriculum is the course of study that you participate in as a student in our department. Some of the things that really distinguish our department, and perhaps maybe the most distinguishing factor, is that in BFA Photo and Video, you start with photo and video from day one. This means that all 4 years you're actually working toward understanding not only the technical, but also the conceptual, art historical, and theoretical aspects of the media. And you could think of it as a way of, you could say, well, how is that different? Well, in other programs, you often have to take a foundational year in things like drawing and sculpture and other fine arts that lay the foundation for then allowing you to get to photo and video in the second and third and fourth year. But the way that we look at it is your investment in education is a big investment. And we want to ensure, as I said at the beginning of the presentation, that you're set up professionally. So if we're able to give you 4 years instead of 3 years of very dedicated focus on all the things that we need to cover in both a photo and video and related media department, we think it's better to give you 4 years so that you're going to come out of your undergraduate degree with an advantage. Another way to think about it is, if you're someone who thinks, I'd like to finish my undergrad degree and be able to work professionally before going to get an MFA for another 2 years, we think that that's also a good opportunity where you don't necessarily need to pursue an MFA to actually be a professional in the field. So if we have you for 4 years in the major very much focused, we're able to, by our third year in our department, it's kind of the equivalent of a fourth year in another department. So you can think of the senior year in our department as kind of a more professionally driven year that's really setting you up for the career that you hope to have after school. Our curriculum, as you know by the name, is both photography and video. And we see this as a vital aspect of thinking about photographic language in the 21st century. So I'd like you all to think for a moment. How many of you have looked at photographs already today? All of us, probably. How many of you have looked at video today? Well, I know because I just showed you one. And think about durationally, right? I think you've probably spent more time consuming video, right? Just because of the durational nature. We're moving more and more into a video culture where we consume time-based media, often photographic time-based media, but time-based media nonetheless. So our department is committed to not only teaching you how to take your photographic talent and turn that into skills that you can use professionally, but to also make sure that you're able to work in moving image with the same sort of rigor and expertise so that you're able to be a citizen in the 21st century who's gainfully employable. I mean, that's really our sort of mission. And as any of you probably know, if you're already working in photography, which I'm sure many of you are, you know that your cameras already have that function. The culture has already pushed us to the point where pretty much now if you get a digital camera, video is just a turn of the knob. And that's because the media are historically very closely related. And there is in the professional community much more demand for even working photographers to be able to shoot moving image with strong conviction and point of view. So our department, by its nature, as photo and video, has addressed that, and you start taking video classes in your first year. So it's implemented as a sort of equal partner in the curriculum. I should say, in terms of curriculum, though, that in the first 2 years, we lay a really solid technical foundation with a good balance of talking about concept, history, and theory. That sets you up for your third and fourth year when you're able to, based in the feedback that you received and kind of coming of age in the department and understanding yourself better as an artist and understanding your ambitions and talents, to be able to focus on what you hope to do and plan to do once you graduate from our department. So the third and fourth years are a bit more focused in terms of you being able to kind of decide which course it is that you want to pursue, depending on what aspect of photo and video you hope to work in upon graduation. I'll talk about that in a bit, but the other thing I want to note is I think something that really does distinguish us from all art colleges and specifically photo and video departments throughout the world are our world-class facilities. Rather than saying that, I think you need to see it. And you're going to go see that shortly after this part of the program. I encourage you when you're walking through our facilities, if you have any questions, to please ask. You'll get to see a lot. I just want to highlight a couple of things that I want to make sure are on your radar. In addition to seeing our amazing digital labs, our digital classrooms, our dark rooms, and our studios, you're also going to notice that there's a number of amazing exhibitions throughout our department. We really support our students not only in making work, but having opportunities to put their work in the world. And there's currently 4 incredible exhibitions on view that are going to be part of your tour. I'd like to also invite you all at the end of our time together to join us for a reception for one of those exhibitions for Kobe, who is going to be on the panel you'll be hearing from shortly. We're having a special reception from 2 to 4, and we'd like to invite you all to that. One other point that I want to mention in terms of exhibitions is so we'll go through a very lovely opportunity to speak with some of our current students and recent grads, where you'll also get a chance to ask some questions in a few moments. And then we'll be shuttled over to the east side to our photo building, where you'll see the facilities. You'll also get to meet some of our faculty and other members of the community. Following that, we'll have lunch. There'll also be a chance to meet back with me and ask me any questions directly, because I know this is a bit formal and I'd like to actually get to know you individually. So we'll have a chance at the end of your time in the building around 2 o'clock to chat, and we'll have some things to show you. I have some giveaways to give you, and also just you can ask me any questions directly at that point. And then we'll have the chance for you to visit the reception that I mentioned in our building. And if you're interested in a housing tour, you can take transportation. We'll provide transportation from our building to just a stone's throw away to our main building on 23rd Street. And when you go there, you'll be accommodated by one of our tour guides. But when you get there, you'll notice that there's a very special exhibition called Picture Library. This show I want to note because it's a show that's hosted by our department. This is an exhibition that we do annually where we invite alumni from our department to showcase their senior monograph. And you may ask, well, what is the senior monograph? Our department is very much committed to all aspects of photographic practice. Of course, we're thinking about online practices, digital imagery, but we do understand there's a rich history of the printed picture in book format. And our students are excited to explore this in tandem with all of the newest technologies. So one of the senior requirements is that each student gets to make a monograph of their work. A monograph is a book of your work that features one particular artist that looks at their work in depth. That monograph becomes the property of our library, and it allows for the work of our students, who are soon to be alumni, to enter into a collection of books that are well represent the history of photographic practice. That's pretty exciting, and because we understand that part of education is looking at books of past photographers, this exhibition features the work of alumni's books, their senior monographs, alongside books from the library of often very famous photographers whose books served as inspiration for our graduating seniors' own practices. So it's kind of a pop-up library. It's beautifully installed, and I think it really showcases the work of our alumni through their senior monographs in the context of a broader photographic history. So I just want to point that out, because if you do go on the housing tour, you'll be going over to this main facility and be brought from there, and it's a great chance to see the Picture Library show, which the department is very proud of. With that, I'd like to take the remainder of my time speaking with you now to talk about the third thing that distinguishes us, and maybe this is the most important. Facilities are very important as our equipment, and we have that. A strong curriculum, important, and we have that. I think those things can sometimes be copied, right? Because someone can say, oh, you have that piece of equipment, we're getting that piece of equipment. You did that in your curriculum? No, we're doing that in our curriculum. And we have been copied. That happens. When you're leaders, you get copied. I'm sure you're all, if you're not used to it yet as artistic people, you have to get used to that. You put your energy into the collective public, and if it's good, people actually then mimic it, and sometimes they even make it better. But that's sort of part of being creative. But I think the thing that can't be replicated that we offer is who we are. And you may say, well, what does that mean? Going back to what I said to all of you in the beginning, you need support. You need support to be a human being, let alone a creative human being. We all need each other. And our department understands that a creative endeavor is one that is often requiring bravery, courage, perseverance, sometimes seeming a little bit like the person who is ahead of the curve so no one quite gets you yet. We know that's part of being a creative person, right? It's maybe in terms of art history, it's called the avant-garde, right? It's sort of being ahead of the curve of a bit, so people don't quite get it yet. And so being in the avant-garde, right, being creative does require some support because we can't operate as an island. Our department understands that, and we're committed to giving each of our students as much support as possible. This comes through fostering community. So who is our community? It's me and the team that I work with who are very much committed to making sure that we have a great curriculum, that we have amazing facilities that are well maintained, and that our students have great access to know how to best use those facilities for their education. In addition to that, it's our incredible faculty who are working professionals that teach not only from their knowledge of how the medium operates, but from their lived experience. So people who can really tell you, well, this is how it operates in the world right now, so this is what you need to know for your own successful creative practice. And that's also important because think about it. In terms of community, so many of the things that allow us to have opportunities comes from people who are already part of that creative community. And so by being in a department where you're plugged in, learning from experts in the field who are part of the larger respected photo and video community in New York City and the world, you're getting direct access to understanding what you need to learn to be able to be successful with your degree. So what am I forgetting? Not forgetting it all. Actually, the other part of our community is, who else do you think? Talked about staff, talked about faculty. What's left? Students. So students are the key to our community. If we attract good students who are willing to put in good work and actually be committed, we end up having a great alumni community, which is true. So without great students, you cannot have great alumni. So we really are committed to actually attracting students who want to be successful, who are eager to learn, who want to take risks, who want to be engaged with an incredible staff and faculty, so that they can actually then do us proud in a way, right? We're really proud of the alumni who go through our department because it's actually in some ways one of the best mouthpieces for who we are. The alumni successes actually just reflect all the good things that we've done as a department. So good students turn into good alumni, and that's something that we're quite proud of. As you're all sitting here, you might be thinking, how would I best make use of my 4 years in BFA photo and video? And the question I would like you each to ask yourselves is, who will you become? You're all sitting here right now, the person that you are, but I believe that we're all always evolving. I hope that we're always evolving, right? We're always becoming better iterations of ourselves. So let's think about this. Who will you become? And I think one of the things that makes answering the question of who you'll become is to know what are the options, because sometimes we don't even know what could a photo and video degree be useful for in 2025, or in the case of folks who are going to be coming shortly in 2030. You know, when you graduate in 2030, what are some of the things that that degree are going to allow you to do? So let me show you another video that just introduces to you some of our amazing alumni. Remember, amazing students equal amazing alumni. So you'll be able to see where students end up as our alumni and some of the opportunities that this degree affords. Because I think I'm even sometimes surprised to know in so many ways and so many capacities how our alumni succeed and contribute to society through all of the multifaceted aspects of photo and video. So let me give you a kind of deeper look into who you can become, because what this degree affords you.
work in the food and beverage space.
I did an internship at Saturday Night Live. It was in direct
So I ask you each to think about this idea of what you want to become through 4 years of study at the undergraduate level in photography and video, because the possibilities are quite exciting. But oftentimes we don't even know sort of what a degree can be utilized to, because sometimes we don't exactly understand, that education leads to these professional opportunities in the world after graduation. I think ultimately, to make my point about our incredible students becoming our incredible alumni, I should have the students and alumni speak directly to you, because of course I can vouch for how proud I am of them and how proud the department is of the hard work that our students do to become our amazing alumni. But I think it might be more interesting for you to hear from some of them directly, and also have a chance to maybe ask them some questions. So with that, I would like to introduce Talia Steinman, who is the assistant to the chair and curriculum coordinator, who is going to be introducing 2 current fourth-year students and 1 recent graduate from our department, with whom she'll be leading a panel discussion followed by a Q&A. Talia?
Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be here with you today, and I'm very excited to introduce our amazing students and alum. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you one image for each of them as a very, very simple overview of what their practice looks like, and that way you have a visual reference, since a lot of us are visual people after all, to then have when they're talking. So this is the work of Kobe Lijon, one of our current students, who also has an exhibition in our department that you will be seeing shortly as well. This work is a bit earlier. So that's their image. Then we have Jaden Russell, another current student. And this is some of their work from last year. And then we have our very recent grad, Shane Singh. And this is part of his thesis work from last year as well. All right. That is the very brief overview. We're going to take a moment to set up the chairs, and then we'll be talking directly with you. All right. Thank you, everyone, for being here again, and thank you to our wonderful panelists. I'm going to start with saying my name again. I'm Talia Steinman, the curriculum coordinator and assistant to the chair. My pronouns that I use are she, her, and I'm going to ask each of you to introduce yourself directly, letting the prospective students and their families know a little bit about your work, but first, give us your first and last name, pronouns, what year you are in or when you graduated, and where you were located before SVA.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kobe Lejeune. This is my 4th year at SVA. I mostly do documentary photography with sports and also archival work with digital manipulation. And before SVA, I was living in Las Vegas.
Hi, I'm Jaden Russell. My pronouns are she, her. I'm from Northern Virginia, close to the DC area. And my work sort of focuses around portrait photography. And I photograph portraits of musicians, my friends, and I've also worked on a project photographing portraits of people in rural communities.
Hi guys, my name is Shane Singh. My pronouns are he, him. I'm a Guyanese photographer. I moved to New York about 8 years ago. And most of my work focuses on, it's kind of like fashion editorial, mainly focusing on documenting people. And then I also have a little bit of other work where I document things in my life. So you saw the image there, it was from a project, my thesis project documenting nightlife photography, but I also do like a little bit of street photography and just general photography around the things that I do in daily life.
Thank you all. So as we look at this crowd of folks figuring out where they would like to go to school, I want to ask you, how did you choose to come to SVA Photo and Video?
So yeah, I was originally doing film and I realized it wasn't for me. And so at the time I was watching the cartoon show Steven Universe. And so I was like looking up information about Rebecca Sugar and I saw that she went to SVA and I had currently also gotten back into photography. And so I was like, I feel like this is such a big sign for me to like really like dive into this. So I started like researching all about the photo department and everything, and I kind of just really put all my eggs in one basket and was like, I'm gonna do this. I feel like this is a big sign to go, and yeah, I love it.
Yeah, so I've always known I wanted to go to school in a city. So my choices were kind of between Chicago and New York, but I've always loved New York more. And so I just did a bunch of research into the different schools in the area, and I really loved SVA's curriculum and also the facilities. I think that's a really strong point for a lot of people, especially since I do a lot of studio photography. So being able to use all the different new equipment in studios is really a great and rare opportunity. So that's sort of what drew me in the most.
For me, right after moving here, I attended a community college just to kind of figure out. I had like a lot of career options that I wanted to take, and I wasn't sure which one. So I just did a general art and design degree at a community college here. And when I was preparing to graduate, I sat down with one of my teachers and we had like this discussion. I applied to like as many schools as possible in the city, and we had this discussion of where was worthwhile like tuition to facilities. And we kind of settled on SVA having like comparatively as much as the school costs, like the best facilities for the price that I would be paying, and as well as like the access to all the alum and things like that. I was just like, that looks like the best place to go.
Yay, thank you. And history has been made, and now we're all here. Amazing. So I've had the pleasure of seeing you all as students throughout your time here. I've been working here for over 5 years, believe it or not. But I'd like for you to reflect on that time and tell us, how has your work evolved as your time as an SVA student, and specifically, are there things that you've explored through things like electives? Are there people in our community that have had a specific impact? Something along those lines that influenced your work.
Yeah, so I would really say my foundation year changed a lot for me. I came in only thinking I wanted to do landscape photography. I was like set on being a landscape photographer. And I had a foundation year teacher, sadly, who's no longer with us, but Abby Robinson. And she really encouraged me to like start photographing people and going out and really challenging myself to push those boundaries. And I'm really grateful for that, yeah.
I would say I would also agree that the first year foundation year is very important. I had Gabby Rusmano, who was also in one of the earlier videos, but she's by far my favorite teacher, and she was really supportive and really kept an open conversation as we were navigating our work throughout the first year. And so the first 2 years, I was very interested in studio photography and really getting to be familiar with the facilities and the equipment. And then in the past 2 years, when I've been able to take more electives, I really enjoyed our advertising photography class as well as our portrait photography class. So those two classes are usually third and fourth year students. But being able to really focus on a specific aspect of photography was really fun and interesting for me. So it's been great doing the electives and also having those first 2 foundation years really come together and give me a great experience.
For me, I was kind of in a similar boat as Kobe, where I thought I would be like a fine art black and white photographer, because the photography teachers that I learned from at my community college were also that type of photographer, and I was like, oh, this is so great. But coming into SVA, we had like a freshman lighting class, and I started getting really interested in how much adding lighting could add to your work, and having that like technical skill, and that kind of prompted me to explore more. And then I had teachers like in second year we have another lighting class with Len, and he's so wonderful, and he like
Who
was
you will
very
meet later, actually.
yes perfect.
Yeah.
Len is wonderful. You'll all love him. But yeah, he was like such an encouraging person, and he was like, oh, you should try this, you should try that, that's really good, like keep going. And just like as I kept pushing forward, I started discovering like, oh, maybe I like these other styles of photography, maybe I like taking pictures of people, maybe I like working in the studio, and it just kind of helped me develop and kind of move into the direction I'm heading right now.
I love that. Okay, well, you've referenced a bit our amazing resources and facilities that we have, but just to name them again, we have our studios, equipment, digital labs, including scanners and amazing inkjet printers, large format and not large format. How did you take advantage of these when you were here?
Yeah, when I first came, I had never like used any like large format, like large format or medium format cameras like ever. So that was very exciting to be able to explore and experiment with all those. And also video. I like, of course, I was doing film, but I hadn't got any on hand practice. So it was nice that coming in my first year, I was able to like just jump right into everything. But also I got really into printing. I love to print, especially like a very large print is like my go-to. And as long as I can try, like as much as I can, I want to print large.
Yeah, I really, kind of like I mentioned before, I really loved using our studios and just experimenting. Like, there's so many different things you can do in the studio, and you never learn it all. So even just yesterday, I was doing a new lighting setup, kind of just experimenting with like 5 different lights, and I discovered a new lighting technique that I really like and want to move forward with. So you're always kind of discovering new things and learning what you like and what you don't like. So I think it's a really great space to be experimental.
Going exactly off of what Jaden just said, like in my freshman year, I spent like most of my free days in the studios just like figuring it out because like for me, studio lighting was something that I never had access to before. So I was like, oh, this is so interesting, and I would like try all these different things and try the different lights because there's like a good range of different things. I would even take like we have on-site lights, like on-location lights that you can take out of the building and like try on location outside. And then moving forward, we also have like a great dark room. Like coming from that black and white background, I spent like a lot of time developing film and printing and doing all these things. And again, it's like such a great thing to have when you have that spare time and you can just like go in and like you like have an idea, you just go try it and get it done, and then you're like, ooh, I like this, I don't like this, and you can really help flesh out the way that you work.
Yeah, and it's great to see people like you actually take advantage of all of the resources that we have, because you probably could never even try some of like everything because there's just so many, but you're getting close. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely that.
Amazing. So now I want to talk about opportunities. What have been some internships, job or employment opportunities, or exhibition opportunities that have come your way through SVA? Kobe, you have a big one.
Yeah, so this past summer, I got to do the Mark Levine Mets photography internship. So I worked with the Mets basically like June till August, and I got to photograph the game. I did a lot of behind the scenes stuff. It was such a great opportunity, and it was all through the Mets Foundation and through SVA. So that was such a great opportunity, and then also getting an exhibition for later today. Yeah, that was a really great opportunity, and also great for photo opportunities through SVA, such as like photographing events. A lot of people reach out to like photograph events for the school and everything, which I just did the Halloween party, which was a lot of fun. But yeah.
Yeah, and one thing about the internship, which I'm super proud of you for and excited about, that's actually something that was set up through the Visual Arts Foundation at SVA and the Mets. It's exclusively an opportunity for students in our department because Mark Levine was a graduate. And so Kobe was the inaugural recipient of that position. And it's just such an incredible opportunity, especially for someone like you who does sports photography, to get that on-hand experience with a major league team. So
Definitely.
Yay. And yeah, I hope you stick around for the reception, but either way you'll get to see Kobe's show from that experience on your tour. And what about you, Jaden?
I've had several really great experiences. So starting after my sophomore year, I was the photo intern at The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon. So that was a summer-long internship with NBC Universal. Based out of 30 Rock, and in that position, I did behind-the-scenes photography. as well as stills for social media reels. And really got to just get immersed in the entertainment and television space, which was really interesting and a rare opportunity. And that internship unfortunately doesn't run anymore, but it was a really fun and rare opportunity, like I mentioned. And then the following February, which was this past February, I was called back to be a production assistant for the Saturday Night Live 50 anniversary event. So it was like a 2-day anniversary special, which was super exciting. So I did card running between the photo editors and photographers for that. And then now I am a student worker, which we've all been student workers. But it's a really great opportunity to one, get like customer service experience and skills, as well as really getting to know the equipment, especially if we haven't used it before. So it's a really great opportunity that I recommend for anyone during their years here.
Yeah. And I love being able to say hi to all our student workers. Jaden knows well. On the 6th floor, I'm always stopping by. But Shane, what about you?
Along with being a student worker, which is, by the way, like a really good way to learn a lot of the equipment, because you get the opportunity to, as students return certain things, you can like check it out. You can try stuff because it's all sitting there like right next to you. You can pick something up, play with it. You're actually encouraged to like just try things out because it's right there like while you're on your shift. So it's definitely one of those great things to engage with. Along with that, I took a class with a teacher of mine, Guy Rock, who's a commercial photographer. And he teaches a commercial class with his agent, Kelly Penford. And over this past summer, like after graduating, I was looking for some work, and I just reached out to them, and they offered me an internship at their agency, Art World. Since then, I worked over this summer as a production intern, where I did a little bit of production assisting, where I did a little bit of work in office, just helping to plan some commercial shoots and things like that. And in September, I transitioned actually to a part-time job. I now do all of their like marketing and communications, which has been like really interesting because a lot of this lets you know like so much of what goes into the back end of like seeing all these things. Like we see commercials and ads everywhere every day, but it's amazing how much like work goes in on the back end for us to see those images, even though we see them for like a couple seconds sometimes. But yeah.
Yeah, and I think you were telling me that you even assisted Guy on some shoots before you graduated, right?
Yes, I have been a photo assistant for Guy as well a few times, and I still do assist him from time to time when there's shoots around the city and things like that, which is also a great experience, like building off of the things you can learn from just practicing around in the studio, or like being a student worker where you can familiarize yourself with equipment. Going on to be a photographer's assistant is very helpful as well, because you can take that knowledge and it translates directly to being able to help on set, which then translates directly to being able to show that you have the ability to be a photographer as well, if that's like your goal.
Yeah, and a lot of our students get opportunities through just talking to faculty and having that network in that way. Have you also had things like that through faculty? I think, Jaden, were you telling me you were assisting someone recently?
I was assisting an alumni.
Oh, amazing, yeah.
Yeah, so I think she graduated maybe 2017-ish, and she's a fashion photographer based in Brooklyn. So I assisted her for a few months and kind of got to know her workflow and what it's like to be a fashion photographer and editorial photographer.
Amazing. Yeah, and that's also a testament to what Joe was mentioning, is starting from day one, you already have those skills to be assisting on a set when you're still a student. So that's pretty incredible. Okay, so here we are in New York City. What is it like to be an art student here? What's it like to be, and like, yes, we have this internal community, but what is it like to be in this larger environment as well?
It's been so much fun. like, of course, I grew up in Las Vegas, which is already wild in itself, but New York is a whole different place. And I've been able to discover like so many little niche groups, which I love. Like, I love like photographing that, especially. I find that very beautiful, and you can find that all through New York. And just getting lost in the city is like, it's one of my favorite things to do. But yeah, I love it here. And yeah.
Yeah, I'd say everything is very accessible, especially like going to museums and anything where you either like it's art related or you get a student discount. It's very convenient to just like jump on the six and go to the Met, and I think it's free or like pay what you wish. So it's a really great opportunity to be inspired by art and also smaller galleries. So I think that's a really big draw to New York. And I'd also say people are always looking for photographers in New York because it's such like a central hub of creativity. So I don't know if I mentioned it before, but I also do portraits for a music magazine. And so when musicians are on tour and they're coming to New York City, that's when we kind of reach out to them and be like, hey, are you available for this promo shoot for the magazine? And most of the time they'll say yes because they're in New York City for a few days. So it's a really great place to be able to get these opportunities and meet a bunch of different cool people.
I mean, I'm not sure how much more I can add. Like, it's like the perfect city for finding galleries and things like that. There's just so much. There's almost too much. Because like you'll hear of especially if you're like really into looking at art and like looking at photography and just like seeing as much as possible. There's openings almost every week. There's all the museums. There's like changing exhibits everywhere. As well as if you just have like, you'll be surrounded by art friends as well, and then they'll have their own small shows, and they'll have like they'll have friends that are having shows. So then there's like so much to just see and do, especially if you're engaging with it well, as well as just like making work. Like, there's so many people here. There's models, there's actors, there's musicians, like Jaden said. There's like so many people that you can just reach out to and be like, I am a photographer, like can we like work on a project? Can we try something out? Can we do this? Can we do that? Or if you're a street photographer, it's like the place to be a street photographer. But yeah, like it's like the perfect city for what we're doing.
Yeah. I do have one more question for you, but I'm going to check in. How are we doing on time? Should we open it up for Q&A?
Yeah, I'd say we have enough time for maybe one more question.
Okay, awesome. Well, what have been some of your favorite memories while being in the department?
I say my favorite memories have been like, actually was working in the hub, because I did get to learn so much I worked on the 5th floor. I didn't work on the 6th floor. So we like, you'll see on the 5th floor is like a little desk area where the 5th floor hub workers like work at. But I got to like just meet everyone because I feel like we all like, everyone has a life. So I feel like this is a moment where we get to like check in with each other, talk to each other, see how we're doing, and just just like all be together at like one moment in time. So I really do enjoy that.
I also really enjoy working in the hub. I work on the 6th floor hub, so that's more like the camera equipment and lighting equipment. But I've also enjoyed, last year when I was a junior, we had a 3rd year exhibition called Becoming, which Maida curates. So there are about 7 or 8 students chosen for that, paired with an alumni, to produce like a large scale photograph that is in the 23rd Street galleries. So that was kind of my first time being in sort of like a group show outside of the freshman show, which all the freshmen participate in. So that was a really fun experience to, go to the reception and really have your work shown. That was a great experience.
For me, it was like my whole senior year, just because at that point I have all these skills that I've acquired, and for the senior year, you kind of have that freedom to just work on your projects and like just like refine your ideas, and just having that like whole year to just like refine and like just produce everything. And also like you're at this point where all of your classmates as well are you're all able to like really talk about the work and engage with it in a way that's like just like really interesting. And it's like really hard once you graduate to have that type of space where you can sit down and there's like a group of like 5, 6 people that you can like just speak about things and discuss and be like, what do you think of this idea? What do you think of that? Should I do this? Should I do that? So like that whole senior year for me was like super fun and interesting, as well as like you have a senior show, and that was also like really great to see everyone's work in the context that they want it, in frames and on a wall and things like that. So that's like, for me, that was kind of the highlight of the whole experience of being at SVA.
Lovely. Well, thank you all. I'm super happy to be here with you and to hear about all these things that I feel, but it's nice to articulate. Jake, should we move to Q&A?
Yeah, that sounds great. Thanks, Talia. So, if anybody has any questions, feel free to raise your hand. Be happy to pass you the microphone. Well, we have some people listening perhaps online, so just for them too. Thank you.
Okay. A few questions. What is the size of the photography and video? I mean, obviously, it seems like it's much smaller than the illustration and things like that. What is the basic student size?
Per like in a class setting or like the overall size of the department?
Overall size of the department for students.
So let's see, Joe, do you want to speak to that at all?
Okay. Per year, gotcha, okay.
Yeah, just for the folks listening online, Joe was saying it's around 140 and 30 to 40 per class size. And then classes in the beginning, it's a bit larger, like up to 20 students for your foundation year. Then it moves down to 16 for critique-based classes, especially, and every year there is a critique-based class, so that's great. By senior year, there's a cap of 12 people, so you can really have that intimate experience that Shane was talking about when you're discussing your thesis. So there's like a few exceptions where maybe even 10. And yeah, the max is 20, but sometimes it could be like an average of 10 or so.
The other question I had, I had another question too, but anyway, is there any opportunity for photography and video students to travel abroad and study abroad?
Yes, so we do have exchange programs. I know that the school has relationships with like specific institutions, and admissions might be able to speak more to that, but we definitely have like several students every year who do study abroad. Joe wanted to mention a little bit.
Thanks, Maddie. Here you go, Joe.
It's a great question, and it's actually something that I think is important if you want to take advantage of that opportunity. So I'm glad you asked the question, because something that I did right when I came into the department as chair is I reinforced our relationships with schools abroad, because I think so many of our students, while New York is so exciting, think, wow, wouldn't it be exciting to go to London or Amsterdam or Paris or Berlin or Kyoto? And so we actually maintain very good relationships with partner schools. And the way that it works for us is that if you're interested in studying abroad, our students go abroad in the second semester of the junior year. And we have a special program where we actually keep in touch with the students. So even though you go abroad, we realize sometimes students will say, I'm a little nervous to go abroad because I'm right at that key part of my education, and what if I miss something? We actually encourage students that if they have the resources and want to take advantage of these great opportunities and partnerships, I will meet with students often in their second year and kind of give them some guidance, talk to them about the different programs and partnerships. Then they can apply through our international office, so they make an application. That application is reviewed. They can name their top, second, and tertiary choice, depending, because there's often very rigorous admission. And once they're accepted, we give support. They get all of the documentation that they need. Then they go abroad, have an experience. We do maintain contact with them so that if there's any things that are going on the ground here in New York in that second semester of junior year, the students are aware so they don't feel like they're going to fall behind. When they come back, they enter right back in seamlessly. I meet with them, review their work, and they enter into their senior year.
They could get credits then.
Exactly right. But it's a pretty seamless program, and it's something that has been very important to me in terms of students who may say, hey, I've never really lived abroad, and I'd really like that experience. As you might imagine, cities like London are very popular because of the language, so a lot of our students will choose London. That tends to be the most popular. But for students who are maybe a bit more ambitious or kind of risk-taking or have a knowledge of a language or particular interest in a culture, some of our students will go to Kyoto, will go to Berlin, will go to Amsterdam. So there's a lot of great opportunities, and while not required, if a student is interested in that, SVA in our department in particular provides a lot of support to make it seamless. Because the number one concern that we have from students is saying, I want to do that, but I don't want to somehow miss this. And we totally get that. So we've actually worked really hard to create a seamless opportunity for them. Yeah, so thanks for asking that question.
Thanks, Joe. Do we have any other questions? Down here. If you could pass this down for me. Thank you.
I was curious what the student work program you guys were talking about is. Like, what are the options for that for students and like what they do?
Well, I feel like you can speak most directly to your experiences.
Thank you.
So you have like the option in the photo department. They usually at the end of the year, like put out they like notify us that they're hiring for student workers. And so you can choose like, oh, I want to work on the sixth floor or the fifth floor, or I think sixth and fourth work are the same one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you just go in for an interview and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of just to add on to that. So sixth floor is the top floor, and like I mentioned before, that's like the equipment, the lighting equipment where you check out cameras. Fifth floor is like the digital hub, so that's like the cameras, the scanning stations, sort of like your post-processing areas. And then the fourth floor is our darkroom space where you can rent out like the development tanks and like enlarging stuff.
Yeah, and those are the ones that are specific to our department, which my colleague oversees that application process. But there are other departments, like SVA-wide departments, that also hire student workers. I know admissions does have some, and I believe there's other ones that I'm not thinking of. Or let's say like SVA Gallery, they have student workers. There's others that are not coming to mind right now, but there's employment opportunities throughout the college.
Yeah, I think we have time for one more question if anyone has one. Well, if no one else has one, go for it.
Is there a lot of collaboration between different majors? Photography, photo, fashion, or things like that?
Well, I think it depends on different students. They, especially in third and fourth year, students have the option to take electives outside of our department in other classes, so that's where they can really meet in the classroom setting. And then there are SVA clubs, like I know you're part of VASA, right? Or
I'm a student senator.
Student senator, that's it. So anyway, yeah, I would love to hear more about what your experience has been.
I mean, for me, I would say I have had like a few collaboration moments with friends from like the film department. I've done some photography for like one of my friends needed some photos for like props. So I took the pictures of the actors for him to then, I think I also printed them for him too, for him to then use in his film for that. I know I've done some work, and I've also seen some of my friends do some work for like friends in like the design major when they needed like images for like posters and things like that. It is definitely, like Talia said, one of those things where, like, as you engage with students in the other classes, like in gen ed classes and stuff like that, and you'd go like, oh, I do photography, you'll more than likely end up having a relationship where they'll come back and be like, oh, I need pictures for something. And you'll probably end up also going to them like, oh, I need something to be designed, or could you help me draw something? So it's like, there's definitely like that type of give and take. But again, it just depends on how much you engage with it, and you go and you make those friends.
I should mention that, yeah, some of our electives are open and non-majors too, so there is that opportunity within the department as well to have that kind of engagement.
With that, I want to thank our panelists and Talia and give them a round of applause. Thank you all. As I said, I can speak about the department and all the things that I think are great, but ultimately the best mouthpiece are actually the lived experiences of folks who have not only made the most of their time at SVA, but are now reaping the fruits of their labor and making us very proud as alumni, or the folks who are about to go out into the world upon graduation. So I'd like to invite everyone now to, with the guidance of our ambassador, to go to our facility on the east side. There you're going to actually get to see all of the things that we talked about in terms of facilities and equipment. There'll be a tour that you'll lead. The tour will end on our second floor where you'll meet me. So we'll have a chance to talk one-on-one if you have any questions or think of anything you'd like to ask me. Also, I'd love to meet you, so just introduce yourself. We have some giveaways. We'll have lunch for you. And then, as I said, Kobe's show is opening at 2 o'clock, so we invite you all to stop by the reception. And then if you would like a tour of housing, we can direct you accordingly from there. Thanks, everybody. I look forward to seeing you a little bit later this afternoon.